You know what? She's considered the godmother of yoga in Canada.
Really?
Honest to God, she's good. Honest to God, mother. She is like huge in Canada when it comes to yoga. She is the guru.
See, I just know her for the Buddha Groove.
Yeah, and is she the founder of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's an amazing. She is feisty.
That's where I
You're
met
gonna love her.
Hilton, by the way, was at a Buddha Groove.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to talk more about this Buddha Groove because I know nothing about it, but the name. What
Okay.
a great vibe that name has. Speaking of vibes.
All right, great. Okay, so
Good segue.
we got Vibonics coming on the show in
Yep.
just a couple of minutes. We've got some of their video blog here. We're going to check that out, number 1, and we're going to come back with Vibonics right after this until the lunch gets underway. We'll be right back.
You hear that, Bear? Did you hear what that boy just played my guitar, Bear? I'm on a few beers and some trouble. I'm getting faded.
No.
See that toe? Shit's about to go down.
Not all the way down. Tap it, yes.
And it's still in her mouth. Oh yeah!
Caught up in the hustle, always something on our plates. Follow these instructions, we can budget our escape. Weigh the options, trains are popping.
Hey, okay. And
Yeehaw!
I was coming up. I was coming up. I was coming up. You don't know. I was coming up. I was coming up. I was coming up. You don't know.
Drink away the pain, drink away my pain. Gonna smoke away the pain, smoke away my pain. I'm gonna drink.
Okay, we're back here on the show. So that was a little bit of a video blog from Vibonics, and we have the band here right now. We have Tasha, Scott, Crossword, Jose, and Alfred here joining us. And guys,
and girls.
great to have you on
How's
the
it
show. So wasn't that looked like it was shot out west or something like that? Did you guys go on a? Was it?
Yeah, that actually was out west. We went on a tour supporting our brand new EP, Kitchen Sink, and we were on tour all summer. We were out west for a month, then out east for a few weeks. Did the entire country, all the way up to the Yukon. We did.
Wow.
That's
How long?
And everything in between. Yukon, PEI, everything in between.
And over how many months or how long did you do this?
It was about a 2-month span. Yeah.
Like, did you play in every province?
No, we played in every province except for Newfoundland. But we made up for it by playing a territory.
One territory.
One territory. So we did 10
we had
10 things,
That's
10
almost-
Canadian
So
things.
we have
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
province cards, right? I'll throw you a Northwest Territory. You give me the Newfoundland. Okay. got
Yeah,
it. All right.
yeah.
It's like carbon credits. You can still pollute.
Exactly.
Wow. So you guys not only have this music thing happening, but boy, you could write a geography on Canada, because that would be an amazing thing to do.
How was
Right.
Whitehorse? I hear Whitehorse has, despite its location in the territories, one of the best climates in the country. Of course, it is Canada. We don't have a lot of good climates, but
Yeah, it was beautiful weather there. It was just gorgeous. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And the sun doesn't set till 11:15 p.m. So
yeah.
When does it rise?
very early.
But only in the
3:30, yeah,
summer.
something like that.
In
Yeah.
the winter,
in
it's the
summer.
opposite.
But you know what? I think all of us would take your Whitehorse and raise you Dawson City, because that was even crazier than Whitehorse. I mean, that 7-hour difference actually matters a lot when it comes to the sunlight.
Yeah.
So while Whitehorse kind of like the sun set at like, maybe 11:30, 1:30, whatever it was, Dawson City was kind of like, we had maybe a half hour of nighttime.
Yeah, how did that feel? I mean,
I love the light, so I would love that.
Did you guys like that, or trying to get to sleep at like 1 in the morning and the light's still on?
Well, we didn't really try to get to sleep that early.
Well, we were still playing a
Okay,
show.
this is a band. Come on.
Yeah.
Hello.
We ended up getting breakfast a couple times before going to bed, so it was usually bedtime was 8 a.m. kind of thing. 9 a.m.
Unbelievable. But that really screws you up though, right? With all that daytime, like that whole melatonin thing.
You would think so. I thought so for sure, but your body clock kind of kicks in, and it's really not that bad.
Because you're getting too much melatonin. Which is
like
good.
That euphoric, right?
Yeah.
It's like this high feeling, like
And
this
then
natural ayahuasca thing or something.
Well, you know a lot about this stuff, Sandra.
I've heard from so many people. Okay.
Okay, did you think about playing...
All my brownies are natural
Can you bring some next time?
and vegan.
Did you think about
All
playing
plant-based.
Yellowknife? Did you think about that?
We
Or is that-
did.
yeah.
We did think about it, and I'm like, one of my favorite hobbies is just going on like Google Maps and like routing things. You know, if I have the chance to do that, no, I won't just do it on my own. But if I have a chance to do that, I'll do it. And I looked it up, and it just was not feasible. Like even Fort McMurray was not feasible with the routing that we were doing. It would have
you guys
tacked
would
on
have had to drive
like,
all the
extra
way back
weeks.
down south, right? From the Yukon, and then go over, and then go all the way up
Yeah.
and around the lake. Yeah, that's a bad
We,
drive.
and we all, and we also had to be back in Toronto because Tasha had Caravana that she was part of, so we had this we had to get back and we wanted to get back to. So next time we'd love to do it, especially if we have like a plane budget. We're not driving around the country in a van.
So I have to ask, what were the people like in the various places? Like, was it different, or are Canadians just Canadians through and through, no matter where you go, or did you find differences?
There were a few differences, but to be honest, everybody was extremely nice. I think it's true what they say about Canadians. People were very nice. People were very eccentric in Dawson City, more so, and in the Yukon, they were they were more. I wouldn't say down to earth, but there was just a little bit of a difference. They were more laid back and whatever. It's same for the East Coast as well. Very laid back and PEI, very whatever goes. In some of the cities, Edmonton, for example, is a lot more like Toronto. It's like a carbon copy of Toronto, so the people follow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So let's find out a little bit about Vibonics. Like, how did you guys start? How long you been around for?
So we started as Crossword and I. We met at Seneca College during their independent music production program that we took, and he asked me to write some guitar and music for his rapping, and I did, and then we just ended up playing a few shows, and it worked out pretty good. So we started kind of expanding the project to adding more instruments, and then we slowly kind of added members, instruments, and that's how it all started.
So how do you? I know there's a bit of a hip hop element to the band, but there seems to be like a rock or a pop element as well. Can you just talk about kind of the genre that you guys are putting out?
Yeah, we call it hip hop funk rock, and that's kind of a all-encompassing term. But I think it's really so much more than that. It's just the fact that we have 6 different members that have 6 different. Obviously, one member isn't here right now. Laura on the keys. I know I'm not imagining things. I might be a little slightly schizo,
That
but
person's still left in Dawson,
not that
right?
bad.
They're coming
She loved it so much, she just did not want to come back. Montreal was the place too. It's just, we call it hip hop funk rock, and that's like the simplest term we could possibly put it as. We have 6 different elements to the band and 6 different genres or musical backgrounds that really come into it. The hip hop and I think the rock really come into the forefront because of our instrumentation and our vocal presence. So we definitely try to keep it as authentic to every style that we play, but really hip hop and rock, I guess, are the 2 main things, and we try to keep it authentic to those because we don't want to be selling out our own selves just because we have a rapper, let's make it a novelty thing, or we have guitar, let's play some simple stuff. Like, we don't want to do that. We want to stay true to the music, and that's where you get the whole sound that you hear.
Wow.
So is it kind of like how did audiences react to it? Is it a new sound for a lot of people?
I think audiences really, they just get excited. I don't know if it's so much a new sound. Sometimes you can see people kind of, if we go from one heavier song that's more influenced by the rock and then we go into the hip hop, you can kind of see people in the crowd adjusting their ears. But as far as the live show, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a performance we've done where people are not dancing or vibing with their heads or their body movement for every single song. So people seem to get it.
So you have no slow songs? Any?
No, we do. We do.
But
I mean, we have In the Air that's on the album. That's a slower song. It's not like we're not going to give you the all out, ballad, but we are going to slow it down. We do give the audience a chance to kind of breathe and slow dance.
yeah.
That's
Catch their
important.
breath.
Yeah.
Well, when I think of funk rock, though, I really think about movement, and actually I think of it as more of a party environment, party atmosphere, where everybody really gets involved and feels like they're actually performing with you guys. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting from you guys.
Yeah, that's definitely our goal. Is like when we put on a show and we perform people, we want them to have like the best experience they can. You go out to have fun and rock and drink and whatever, and we definitely want to give people as much of that as possible and make them feel like, they're kind of like living that full-on experience,
Yeah.
that you can't always necessarily get with like a DJ.
Yes, yeah. So, do you guys actually do any kind of dancing on stage as well? Like, do you guys do some of that?
We shake it a little. I shake it a little. The music envelops us as well when we're on the stage, I
Right.
think. So we all kind of get into it and do our dancing and our moving around and our,
So there's not much arranged dance movements.
No.
We kind of all move in our own,
You just feel
do
it.
our own thing, and
Improv.
we hope it looks good.
But once we get those wireless guitar and bass pieces, we just might and maybe like a keytar or something like that. We might just see like a full out organized choreographed thing, and somehow to get Scott off the drums and still playing drums but moving around. That would be some
Remote
pretty
drums.
trippy
Could
stuff.
you just do like some sort of remote drumming? Wouldn't that be the coolest thing?
That'd be pretty sweet, yeah. Just like get it so, I don't know, like I can walk around with it, like stage dive or something with the drum set.
Stage dive.
Hey, wait! I just noticed something. Crossword. That T-shirt. Did you get that in Vancouver by any chance?
I did not. I got it in Toronto. It's actually I got it from Home Base. It says Home Base.
Yeah.
It's sorry. I'm analyzing it right now as I say to you. That's why I'm not trying to.
Well, it looks very different from
Because
your
I know
perspective.
there's a record company in Vancouver called Home Base Records, just
Really?
like that. I think
Interesting.
so.
Are you
just-
guys with a label right now?
No.
Maybe
But shout
get
out to
some
Scam.
premonition.
Scam made this. But yeah, sorry. Just want to shout him out.
Good plug.
You
No,
should
not a
maybe
label.
contact them. What kind of music do they sign?
Hip hop.
Aha.
Yeah. So okay. So this EP it's an EP, right? That you have out right now.
That's correct.
And what's it called?
Kitchen Sink.
Kitchen Sink. So just tell us a little bit about that. Is that your first release?
Actually, it's our second. We did one a couple of years back, but with this formation, it's the first one, and just sort of encompasses like a lot of things, which is why we sort of called it the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
It includes everything but the kitchen sink, or it includes it. But yeah, it's like all over. It's like you won't hear like the same sort of type of song on it. Like they sort of meld together, but at the same time they're very different, and it's just been, I don't know, just a wide.
And that's probably what happens naturally when you just allow your creativity to flow freely. You're going to have different styles come out naturally, right?
Yeah, it kind of sucks having like 5 songs, being limited
Yeah.
that way a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
we wanted to have something that we can make sound really good. We wanted to make those 5 songs sound really good with with what we had going, and especially we had a tour that we wanted to get it ready for. So, and we also wanted to kind of give people a taste, like a teaser. So that kind of factors into it. You know, we definitely want to expand more on everything, but 5 songs, we're kind of like, this is the repertoire, this is what we do, and this is what we sound like in every facet of our band.
So it's a good snapshot of
It's
who
a
you guys
it's a,
are.
it's a terrific snapshot, I'd like to say, if I may say so myself.
So who does the writing, guys? Who does the writing?
We all do.
Wow.
We kind of write in a jam style almost. We'll start playing with something, somebody will come up with a certain part, and then we kind of just vibe together and see what comes out of it.
But then who's writing the rap part?
He writes the rap. He writes his guitar. She writes the bass lines. and I just wander around and someone gives me sheet music to do. No, we all kind of write our own stuff. Everybody
Yeah.
writes their own pieces.
And does everybody come in on the vocals, on the rap stuff? You know, like
Nah, it's just her and I.
yeah.
We're trying to get Scott to do a little bit more rapping. I'm just because he does some mean bars. You know, he's got some mean bars. But the problem is he's kind of behind the drum kit, right? So it's kind of hard to
that's
like.
gotta be
do all
tough,
the same
Gotta
time,
get
but-
that remote drummer thing happening. You gotta have that happen.
I know, right?
It's
And me
gotta-
singing, dancing, and
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Okay, so the EP's out. It's called Kitchen Sink, and now we've got I guess the first single video from it that we're gonna play in a minute, called Set Sail. Right? What's the song about before we play it?
The song is about going on vacation when you have no money.
Okay, that's pretty much every person in North America right now. So you've got a huge target market.
Except for Warren Buffett, of course.
Well, you know what? And there's still time. Warren? So before we go into that, what's next for you guys? What do you do next? Are you playing anywhere in Toronto?
Because the summer's over, you did the big tour.
Yeah, we did the big
You
tour.
keep going to the States? What's going on?
Well, we are right now working on a new album, well, full length actually this time, and we are going to have a show coming up soon. We'll keep you guys posted on that. You can check it out on our website, but end of October, and
On Halloween?
maybe don't want to leak too many secrets out. We want to get some people checking out the Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Everything is at Vibonics or /Vibonics, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the website is Vibonics.com. So we'll have all the information there. Make sure you log in. And next year we will be touring more. And yes, we do plan on hitting the States. We've done the States a couple times, but we want to actually tour it and really see what the country has to
Across
offer.
the States like you did with Canada. But
Exactly.
you'll be hitting a lot more cities and a lot
Yeah.
more people. Yeah.
Because it's not just one road, because there's only one road in Canada. Okay, guys. Great to
You
have you
guys
on.
really laughed in sync. Do you know that? We should play that back. That was like harmonic. It was very funny.
No, it was Vibonic.
Okay, Vibonic.
See?
Oh, snap.
Maybe even
Vibe.
an appliance.
And do you get your Vibonic?
You got your Vibonics? Yeah.
Okay. All right,
That's
guys.
all in the plans. Maybe expanding the brand name, but
Yeah, there's a
for
lot you
now,
can do
for
with
now,
that.
We're in talks with the dictionary people right now. Make it a real thing. Yeah.
Well, you could just do it in Wiktionary. You can write it yourself.
Wiktionary.
Yeah. Okay, so Vibonics.com is the website?
that's correct.
And people can go there and go to your Facebook and stuff to find out when and where you're going to play when that is announced. And that's fantastic, guys.
Yeah, they can find out
And
everything,
girls.
where to download the music, where we're gonna play, all that stuff.
Okay, so
Wow.
we're really looking forward to seeing the single video right now. And I just want to say thanks, guys, for coming in today and
Good
all the
luck.
best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Okay, so we're going to play the video now. And then we're going to come back with comedian and hip hop guy, Mark James Heath, who's here in the studio. We'll be right back.
Laugh? No.
Hey, let's get away. We need a vacay, but we're broke as fuck. Caught up in the hustle, always something on our plates. Follow these instructions, we can budget our escape. Weigh the options, trains are popping. Greyhound tickets on sale, we cop them. Craigslist rideshare isn't too sketch. Discount codes don't work, rent a wreck. Why fly 747 style? Ask the stewardess to move her things to walk down the aisle. We'll drive to the bath breaks, roadside if you can't wait. I can be your bodyguard if you got a squat. When the day's over, we can sway over to the lane, shoulder sleep together, then it'll be our layover. Wake up, it's a brand new day. Highway breakfast and we're on our way.
We can bust down there and take the bus, but he don't count serve somewhere because we're broke as fuck. And my job didn't give me any shifts this week, but I still wanna take you on to this retreat.
We'll set sail,
With a forget about our problems.
Set sail.
To a place we never wandered.
Set sail.
Oh, baby, take it nice and slow.
Set sail. By any necessary means we get that February heat. Call the relatives to see if they can lend a Chesterfield. T-Top love's free, but I love Cedar too. Sleeping bags on deck in case we need them too. You want the hotel with the jacuzzi and the sauna? Use somebody else's couchsurfing.com. Fuck booking on Expedia. Tropical cruising boats. Kick back, feet up on the dash with the cruise control. Every stop along the way is a resort. Even if it's our last, it's still a chance to relax. Do a sightseeing out the window frames. Shop at outlet malls, they got the same brand names. Times Square chic and white sands deep, but it can get mad cheap with red flag deals. Just the two of us, me and my girl, on a few odd bucks. We'll see the whole world.
We can bust down there and take the bus back up. Couch surf somewhere because we're broke as fuck. And my job didn't give me any shares this week, but I still wanna take you onto this retreat.
Set sail.
And forget about our problems.
Set sail.
To a place we never wandered.
Set sail.
Oh, baby, take it nice and slow.
Set sail.
You and me, let's hit the road and go. We can bus down there and take the bus back up. Couch surf somewhere because we're broke as fuck. And my job ain't give me any shifts this week, but I still wanna take you onto this retreat. We can bus down there and take the bus back up. Couch surf somewhere because we're broke as fuck. And my job didn't give me any shifts this week, but I still wanna take you onto this retreat.
Set sail.
And forget about our problems.
Set sail.
To a place we never wandered.
Set sail.
Oh, baby, take it nice and slow.
Set sail.
You and me, let's hit the road and go.
Set sail.
And forget about our problems.
Set sail.
To a place we never wandered.
Set sail.
Oh, baby, take it nice and slow.
Set sail.
You and me, let's hit the road and go.
So we're back here on the show, and so that was Vibonics with Set Sail, and we're here now with Mark James Heath. And Mark, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Oh,
Don't worry about that. That's just the sound. So anyway, great to have you here. And well, we met the other day. You were here in the building, and
Yes.
I asked you just based on your accent. I said, "Are you?"
I'm from Chicago. Yeah,
from
Chicago,
the US.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Can you help Vibonics get a tour in the States?
You know what? I would love to. That's a good question. I think I probably could. That's something I could talk to them about.
See, look at these Americans. They're so positive, and they're willing
so
to help.
Friendly.
Oh,
See,
thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, okay, so you're up here, but you're living in Canada now.
I live
right?
in Canada. Yes, trying to stay.
You're trying to stay in
Yeah,
Canada.
has-
Now-
You haven't been here long.
No, I've been here going on 5 years, but I had my 2 kids here because it was free. So I said, let's get them out immediately so we don't have to pay for it.
Does that mean they can't kick you out now because you have to raise your Canadian
Nah.
children in Canada?
No, they still can. They still can. So
Okay.
we're figuring it out. We're doing it right and positively, and you
Yeah.
know we're gonna get it done. 'Cause,
So
yeah.
I'm just curious because how are you finding the whole experience of living in Canada compared to living in the States?
You know
Especially
what?
Chicago.
Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like living in Toronto
Yeah.
is a specific kind of a thing. You know, when you're in a big city, it has a big city sort of a feel to it. And cities all over the world are slightly different, but they're kind of their own thing. As to where I get the impression that if I go more out throughout Canada in different parts of the country, that it's completely different. That the vibe I get here isn't necessarily what I would get all over the country.
So where have you been then?
I've been out east. I've been to Halifax. I've been to St. John's. Just went out there with the toured with Yuck Yucks. Me, Brian Hatt, Jazzman, two really great comedians just did that
so you
tour.
were touring doing comedy in St. John's,
Yes.
Newfoundland. That means you must be like a professional comedian.
That is what I do. Yes, I am. I'm signed with Yuck Yucks. It's I do shows.
You signed with Yuck Yucks?
Yes, they represent me. So like,
I didn't know they even did that. Did you know they did that?
Oh yeah, Yuck Yucks.
So congratulations, that's really good.
Thank you so much.
That
Yuck
is
Yucks
awesome.
actually, they brought stand up to the country. So yeah, they have clubs all over and they put comedians all over there. Yeah, they're a big deal.
They run the comedy scene in
They
Canada
run it.
pretty much.
Pretty much, it's
Yeah.
For the most part. And then there's other people that are doing great things too, as far as comedy is concerned. But yeah, Yuck Yucks is like the main thing.
God. So how did that come about then? How would you audition? Like I wouldn't even know that they would have things like that.
Well, you pretty much do stand up around the city as much as you possibly can, and Yuck Yucks actually has like an open mic on Tuesdays. Tuesday night special is great. People should go down to it because it has some of the best stand up comics in the city that often go up there. And then over time, they sort of bring you in when they feel like you're ready to be brought in. Mark Breslin, who runs Yuck Yucks, is real hands-on and like looking at people. And I opened for my buddy Hannibal Burris at the Horseshoe last year, and he was there.
Mark was there? Mark Breslin was there?
Mark
Okay.
Breslin was there. And so we built a relationship over time, and here I am kind of thing.
So were you intimidated or scared when you were like, oh my God, that's Mark?
What's funny is that I didn't really know who he was.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Chris Locke, who's another amazing stand-up comic from Toronto, he was there. We both opened for Hannibal, and he was like, hey man, Mark Breslin wants to talk to you. And I was like, okay, he must be somebody important. And then I of course looked him up, and I'm like, oh okay, like this is the guy, like this is
the guy.
So at that point it was just a win for me, because it's like, even if I just get to sit down and talk to this guy for a half hour, so I can get something from that.
Absolutely. Wow. So what was that like for you?
It was great. He had a lot of good advice, or a lot of good just again, like here's a person who has built a situation where he can not only work himself, but like a whole country can work off of what it is that we do. So it's like just hanging out with this guy, there's all kinds of things that you can pick up, and it was great. Yeah.
But you got to be funny.
Right? Definitely got to be funny.
So what was it that prompted you to get to kind of point yourself in that direction as a career path into comedy?
I never thought about doing anything else. Growing up, I always wanted to be a comedian, and that just was how it was. And like my family would go, oh, okay, you want to be a comic, you should look at these Bill Cosby tapes, or you want to be a comic, you should look at these Red Fox tapes. And so I would just like watch comedians. And then finally, when I was about 13, it was like, I'm going to go do stand-up. And so I started telling jokes like around my neighborhood, and started doing what they call corporate shows. And I would perform for like schools and company picnics and stuff like that. And I've just been doing it ever since then.
Like, were you not in class? Were you sort of a class, the
Absolutely.
funny guy in class?
I was a horrible person in class. Disrupting class was my full-time job when I was in school. Yeah. All through it. Yeah.
But did people laugh? Like, did you make people laugh in school?
Yeah. I made people laugh, and then I'm kind of a skinny, short guy, so it got to the point where it was like making people laugh was a great survival mechanism. And it was like, okay, I have to keep doing this at a certain point, because I'm not that, I'm not a tough guy. So it's like, okay, make people laugh. And
that was your edge.
And you get to just hang around. Yeah, exactly.
See, no matter what I did, I couldn't tell a joke to make people laugh if my life depended on it. This is a really, really tough thing to do.
Yeah. Like, and you never stop bombing or failing. Like, I've told maybe 3 jokes since I've been sitting here, and they just went nowhere. So you know what I mean?
Oh,
really?
That
I'll have to watch the tape after.
So yeah, you know what? Maybe we're just not good at that.
No, we get to know each other, and then you're like, oh, he's kidding. Otherwise, you're just like, that's a confusing thing.
So you know what? That's going to be my line from now on. Okay, I'm going to say, like, you know what? I'm an up-and-coming comedian, and I just said like 3 jokes through our conversation, and it just all bombed. Maybe I can get.
Well, actually, before you
I'm
got
making
here,
a comedian laugh. Is that good?
That's great. There's not much money in it, but it's
Oh,
great.
okay.
The only comedian
Now that's
laugh
funny.
Doesn't do much for you.
The truth is funny. Oh my God,
Always.
that's so funny. Wow, that's really amazing. So we really have to. Okay, so do you find when you do, when you are up there, standing up there? I mean, I guess it really depends on the audience.
Well, it's kind of like this. It's a weird sort of a live performance. There's really nothing else like it, so it's really hard to compare it to like playing songs or other things because that's not really.
Could you
what
compare it
is.
to standing up there naked? Would that do it?
I mean, standing up there in front of people is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's just like you said. You're like, I try to make people laugh. I've never been able to do it. So, like, to stand up in front of a group of people, if you were at a restaurant, you stood up and said, everybody look at me. I'm about to start making you all laugh right now. That would be crazy. So it's much like the act. It's like being a daredevil. You know, if you say, I'm going to jump a school bus on a Segway, well, you're going to draw a crowd. People want to see if you can pull it off. If you make it, that's amazing. You're incredible. You have nerves of steel. People respect you. If you miss, it's embarrassing and painful. Some people can't watch it. Some people like to watch it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But overall, nobody has any sympathy for you. It's like, you idiot. Why are you trying to jump a school bus on a Segway? You're stupid. So if you get up there and try to make people laugh and it doesn't work, I mean, you can say, oh, it was the crowd, but it just amounts to you didn't make them laugh.
have you ever had a night like that?
Oh yeah, it's full of nights like that. Nights like that are everything else is a gift. You know what I mean? It's
So
really
is that the
great.
norm then? Is that what you're saying? That's the norm, and then the.
It's not really the norm. There's this documentary that Seinfeld did right after he left his show and he went back to doing stand-up called Comedian. And it shows him working on all new material and trying material out. And this is Jerry Seinfeld, and this is like maybe 98. So
After he already conquered the world, right?
So he's arguably the biggest stand-up comedian in the world at this point.
Yep.
And he's driving in his Porsche from open mic to open mic in New York, trying out new stuff, and he's bombing. Crowds are not laughing. They're one lady even asks him, like, heckles him, like, is this your first time? Like,
Wow.
and he builds his act back up, and now again, here he is back. He's doing Vegas. He's making millions. He's a big stand-up comedian, but you got to grow and cultivate an act, and it's a give and take.
So, I'm assuming he is somebody you look up to, or might.
Yeah,
Okay.
certainly. Yeah.
So can you actually look at these guys and study them?
Most certainly. That's really outside of actually doing it. There's no substitute for being up there doing it.
Okay.
That's the only way that's the way I learned. And you have curriculum that's being developed for it now, and people are respecting it like an art and teaching it. But that's pretty new. That's like the last decade or so. For the most part, it's just you get out there and you try it. You watch other people. You bounce ideas off people, and that's how you get to be a comic.
Okay, I got a question for you because I've actually tried it a couple times.
Okay.
Of getting up there and doing stand-up comedy. So, but my question is, have you ever gone up on stage totally with no material, like
No.
just dry? Like I'm just going
Wow.
up there. I'm just gonna go see if I can make stuff up.
No, you know what? Actually,
That would be stupid. That's worse than trying to jump the bus.
well, I mean, that's what you do, though. That's what you do. You're a bus jumper. Some people, that's how they have to start. Some people start with nothing. They get up on stage. They kind of free.
Yeah.
They just talk, and they find where it's funny. I'm a material guy. I'm a writer. So I kind of start there. Things I think are
Okay.
funny, and I'm like, okay, I have a list. I'm going to go try this out. But some people, I mean, you would be amazed. The best stuff that they're going to come up with, they're going to come up with standing there being funny in the room.
Spontaneous,
Right.
Like maybe even just feeding off the audience. Like ask me a question and we'll just go from there. Sometimes
Yeah.
I have that as a fantasy about how to do it.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of a believer that you don't get to really choose your method. Your method kind of chooses you.
Yeah.
You just do stuff and you crash and burn. I don't know if you're like, I really just want to wing it. You know what I mean? Well, maybe, but it might take you like 10 years of just
To get to that.
not winging it right, and then
Yeah.
eventually there you are. You know.
Yeah.
that kind of
So,
thing.
okay, so let me ask you, okay, I would think of anybody who would wing it would be someone like Jim Carrey.
Maybe. I don't know
Now-
that much about
You know who's
Gary.
winged it really good is Robin Williams. I've seen him wing it like crazy.
And see, that's the thing. Robin Williams is it's so prepared, and that's his like. That's
So he
his
makes you
clever
think.
thing that he does.
So
yeah.
it appears that he's winging
You mean
it.
he's not winging it?
Sharp. He's just that sharp.
No, you know what I think? I think the secret is he's not winging, he's psychic.
No, I saw
He
my.
knows who's going to ask what.
No, I saw it. It was either on Letterman or Johnny Carson or Leno one time. It was like he was off the stage into the audience. Like I swear he was just making stuff up.
Yeah, he's good at winging it. He's good at winging it. But the best comics will do their act, and you'll feel like, oh my God, he has to be coming up with this stuff out of thin
Like
air, and it's
spontaneous.
like
Yeah.
it's all a show.
Okay, I got a question because so you say your method chooses you, and you said you're a writer. So I'm just curious, like, what is the genesis of a bit or a joke or a story? Like, you walking down the street and you see something, or can you give us an example of how it hits, how something will begin with you?
How things begin with me, for the most part, is that I'm in real life. Something will happen, and then I'll say something funny, or I'll think of something funny in the moment. I'll be like, I have to remember that, and then I'll craft it into something that I can bring to stage. Like, you ever have somebody tell you a joke, or you try to tell a joke to someone, and you're just like, and then this happened, and then a dog ran out, and you're just laughing, and they're like, that's hilarious, and you're like, oh, you had to be there, you had to be there. My whole thing is like, you have to create a scenario where everybody's there with you and they are following.
You know, that's a really good point, because I went with a friend of mine who is an accountant, and we went to a party, and it was full of accountants. I was the only non-accountant, non-numbers person there, and they were saying all these jokes with numbers. They were laughing. They were splitting a kidney. They were laughing so hard, and I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is not funny.
Right.
They were laughing about numbers.
And you see, and that's the thing. You don't get the reference. They're making great number jokes, but if you don't know what they're talking about, you don't know what they're talking about. So if I'm telling you jokes and I'm telling you accountant jokes, that's my fault. It's not like, she just doesn't get it. It's like, it's kind of like being a DJ, really, and you got a set. You got a whole bunch of different things that you can play, that you can throw on. You got to know when to throw on what. It's like people aren't dancing and you're playing records. It's not like, these people are idiots. They should be dancing to whatever I want them to dance to. It's like, it's your job to make sure that you know when to play what to who.
So when you're playing in, a house, I guess you have to think about, do you look at, okay, who would the audience be? Like when you you perform for Yuck Yucks, that's pretty much everybody though. So what do you do?
Well, you try to write honest. If you write too much in some sort of a place where it's like, well, I'm a young guy, so I have to tell jokes that pertain to this, or I'm black, so I tell jokes that pertain to this. It's like, if I really speak honestly about all my experiences, no matter what they are, there'll be something that people will find that's similar to theirs. So it's like, even if I talk about racism or anything like that, I can be in St. John's, Newfoundland, and they can go, yeah, I know exactly. I can be the only black person in the club, and it's like everybody is still on the same page, because it's like we're people, we get it.
Because human
get the
is
people
human.
thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you focus on, Mark? What are specifically, because a lot of people focus on specific things. Like a lot of comedians are known for, okay, they speak about their homeland,
Right.
or whatever.
Right now, I'm talking a lot about. I talk a lot about race. I talk a lot about being a father, and that's mostly what I'm talking about right now. Is race and fatherhood. Just a lot of, because I've been a black person my whole life, but
really
getting to a place now where it's like, you have kids and you see the world differently. It means something else. Like racism, for the most part, is this annoying thing. It might add 20 more minutes to your day. You know what I mean? When you're trying to run an errand or something like that, and you just kind of get along with it. But once you have these kids and they have these fresh eyes, and you're like, this is really weird that this kind of stuff is here, and I like bring them into it.
Yes.
Like I was in the supermarket the other day, and I'm standing in line, and there's like tabloids all on the side of the rack or whatever, and there's this magazine that's like look at who's fat or something like that. And they like circled this woman's like underarm, like Kim Kardashian's underarm. They like circled it and like, look at her underarm fat. And I'm like, I'm bringing two girls into a world where they're like judging women's underarm fat. Is that really happening? So like social issues like that are just sharper to me, I think, now. And I talk mostly about that kind of stuff.
It's interesting. So you're looking at the world with those critical eyes because you've got kids now
Right.
that
like making it so they can't put their finger in the electrical socket, and then you're like, I hope they don't, see this magazine.
Yeah, what's really important here?
Right. Like I remember when tabloids used to be like, we found a half boy, half bat.
I remember that bad boy.
You know, and something like that. And now it's like, guess who's really fat? Guess who really looks bad without makeup? It's like, for real? That's so mean.
I wonder if the Bat Boy's fat now.
Maybe it's a combination. Bat Boy has a Broadway show.
He has a reality show, actually. It's Honey Boo Boo, and then Bat Boy comes on right after. He's hilarious. Him and Flavor Flav, that on-screen kiss that they shared, I thought was beautiful. It was a great moment in television. I wept a little, actually.
Okay, so Mark, you're
crying
doing a show
comedian.
too. You're doing a show down on Bloor Street,
Yeah,
right?
Bloor and Ossington at Tall Boys Craft Beer House. It's called the Nappy Nerd Show.
The Nappy Nerd Show. That's a
yes,
very
yes.
cool name.
Well, thank you so much. It's this Monday coming up, October the 7th. Keith Pedro is headlining it. Keith Pedro is amazing. So yeah, I think people will love it. They should definitely come out and check us out.
So how often do you do this show?
This show is gonna be once a month. This is the kickoff to it, which is why we have such a great like headliner. Keith Pedro's done MTV. Keith Pedro just did a No Kidding, and a whole bunch of other like really great stuff. He's amazing.
Is he American?
No, he's from Toronto,
Okay.
born and raised in Toronto. Just one of the Toronto has such a great comedy scene, which is the whole reason for being here. You can reach in your pocket and pay $5 to $20, and you can see K. Trevor Wilson, or you can see Eddie Delaseppe, or Brian Hadd, or Matt O'Brien, or Patrick Hay on any given night, and these are
Wow.
great comedians. John Paul, like world class stand-up
Wow.
comedians. So yeah, people should take advantage of it for sure.
But didn't Chicago used to have the reputation for being the great comedy city?
Still does.
Yeah.
Still does. There are many great comedy cities. Chicago is doing crazy right now. Hannibal Buress is really big. Lil Rel Howery is really big. There's a lot of great comics coming out of Chicago. It's a really great city.
Okay, so October, what is the date?
October 7th.
7th.
Monday,
So,
October 7th.
And then what is it every, when, you're doing it every month, but is it like
Yeah, it'll be like the
first Monday
the
of
first
every month?
Monday of every month. Yep.
Down at
Down
Tall
at
Boys.
Tall Boys on Bloor and Ossington.
Bloor and
Yeah.
Ossington? Okay, so what time should people show up?
They should come in like 7:30, 7:45. It's Monday, so we try to get them in there and get
Yeah.
them out so they can get to work and all that
Yeah.
cool stuff.
So how late does the show, or does the entertainment go?
It'll be done at 10 for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they better get down there on time and,
Right,
and check it
exactly.
out, get their
We're-
money's worth.
Yeah, because it's all, really good comedians, really sharp. We give them just a little bit so people can really see,
Yeah.
so that they can have, it's more of a place where great comedians can come and develop material. So you're going to be seeing some stuff
Works
for the
in
first
progress.
time. Yeah.
No, that's good. Because I
Wow.
remember I saw, what's his name? Well, who's the big Canadian comedian?
Oh, wow.
What's his name?
I love
You
you,
know
I
the-
love you said that like
the
it's
guy
one.
from Brampton.
You talking about
Russell
Russell Peters?
Peters?
Russell
for sure.
Peters. I remember seeing him back before he went huge.
Yeah, man.
And down at Yuck Yucks, as a matter of fact. So you never know. Maybe you're going to see tomorrow's Russell Peters down at your show, right?
Absolutely. And then
And you
that's
may be.
another- Oh wow, that's another guy who's like just great in a room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Picking things out.
No,
and
it
making
makes
those
you
jokes.
wonder what did he do to because he's at a level so much beyond everybody else, right? What it makes you wonder what really you have to do, or what the magic formula is to get from being just one of a lot of comedians to being at the Russell Peters.
He worked at City TV. That's what he did.
Well, working at TV, having a TV show, or there's this great joke by Mitch Hedberg, who's a comedian. He passed away, but he has this bit where he says, "I worked really hard to be a comedian, and then people go, 'Hey, that's really great. Can you write?' And that's like, you know, I work really hard to be a cook, and then somebody's like, yeah, that's really great. Can you farm? And so it's like television and having a TV show and having a radio show, or all of those things are kind of their own sort of specific skill set. And when people know you, they come out to see you. But what gets a comedian from just being a comedian to being this big name really is just you're consistently just hilarious all the time, knocking it out to the point where people are like, you got to see this guy, you got to see this guy.
Yeah.
And it just builds from there.
Wow.
Very cool.
Interesting.
Okay, so now you're doing this. Now, what's your ultimate objective when it comes to, like, comedy's your career choice? Like, what do you see yourself ultimately in?
Well, ultimately, I see myself doing this for more people and getting more money for it, pretty much. I'm loving it. I'm traveling around great places with great comics and raising kids. It's a dream come true. So I'm just trying to do it as big as I can do it and continue to do it as big as I can do it. Kind of
Do you ever want to go back to Chicago and maybe headline? Would that be like a dream of yours?
Absolutely. I'm in Chicago often doing shows and stuff like that.
Okay.
Toronto is such a international sort of a city. Like when you get here, there's so many people from so many different places.
Okay.
And so I think it's a great world hub for comedy. And Canada's not, it's not like people are like, are there any funny people from Canada? Like Canada, that's kind of, they're known. I feel like, at least for me, like growing up, I feel like they dominated. It's like,
well, you have to have a sense of humor
and
to
John
live in this
Candy
country.
And, Mike Myers and Jim Carrey.
Absolutely.
It just goes on and on and on to Russell Peters, and Norm Macdonald is incredible. Just all of these different kinds
Canadian?
of people.
I didn't know he was. Okay. Wow.
Even Lorne Michaels is Canadian.
That I knew. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Wow.
Okay. So, well, great to have you on the show, Mark. And so, October 7th and the first Monday of every month down at Tall Boys.
Yes.
Now, do you have a website or somewhere
I'm on
online?
Facebook. I'm on Facebook like a stay-at-home dad should be. And
okay.
So what do people look
But
up
can you
on
sing?
Facebook?
just Mark James Heath.
Okay. All right.
Can you farm?
He can play Farmville on Facebook. Isn't that where the farm?
I can't even do that at all.
Okay.
I didn't know there were games on Facebook. I was like, why do people keep sending me stuff?
Okay, you really need to get your son to teach you something. I think or two. Maybe you can be the up-and-coming Facebook comedian. Wow. You've made it when? You have lots of followers, lots of likes.
Right.
Okay, since we've been talking about comedy, we should
Say a joke.
do something funny. You want to hear a joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell. You can be Mark Bresson right now.
This was my joke. So you told me that story, and then about how you come up with your stuff, and this is what happened to me. So somebody was telling me, that show, what's it, Intervention? Mm-hmm. So apparently there's like people that get addicted to Listerine.
Ha.
And then they may have a serious health problem, but they've got great breath.
Okay, that would flop.
Yeah, that's a joke. Okay.
You know what? Honestly, though, it's more about just the timing of it.
I
That's
know.
not a bad joke.
That's a good joke.
And
it is the timing,
right? And the confidence of it too. Audiences, they kind of smell blood a little bit. If you come out like, "Is it all right if I make you laugh?" Then they really.
When I told that joke first, because that just came up in conversation, it was like the timing was perfect because it was so spontaneous, right? So then here, like she said, "Oh, do a joke," right? So I wanted to tell her, but it's hard to go from spontaneous, like if you're the funny guy in a room and you're spontaneously funny, to then having to deliver that and to get that timing done on a routine basis,
right?
Like that's an art in itself.
Exactly, you have to be. You know that show Intervention?
Yeah.
I was watching that show Intervention, and apparently there are people who get addicted to Listerine. And it's like, oh, that's a horrible, crippling addiction. But, on the bright side, they always have great breath. Their breath
Exactly.
That's how you tell it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay, I got something here called, this is funny. I find this funny. This is called 9/11 Trek. It's number 4. We're going to play that. We might come back with some satanic symbols, and then we're going to get Toyin on.
Smiley faces.
Toyin on is
Funny
late
satanic
next,
symbols.
and we'll be right back here on Liquid Lunch.
Am I supposed to believe these buildings just fell with no explosions? I can't believe that shit.
So how does fire pulverize 3 buildings?
It doesn't, but who cares? They got their oil pipeline through Afghanistan. That's true. Because of oil, a few of us got wiped out.
America's getting crazy. Patriot Act, wiretapping, torture,
Unprotected borders, undeclared wars.
Abu Ghraib. Guantanamo Bay.
FEMA camps.
Rex 84.
And what will the ignorant masses say when World War III begins?
Sieg Heil, probably.
You know who's really responsible for all this? Dick Cheney and those neocons.
UN.
Ashcroft. And the Bilderbergs want their, what do you call it?
New World Order.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, 9/11 was no freaking accident. 9/11 was an inside job. In fact, what we have is a new Reichstag with a new enemy. Terrorism. It's really fascism. Everybody should know. Yep, the wars are fabricated. Are you ready for Iran? Iran. Kaboom.
And the media is useless. We get fear and fiction from morons.
That's on a good day. And if you can't trust the media, where do you get real information?
YouTube.
And InfoWars. Why don't you try to read a book? Pick up 5.
All right, we are back here on the show, and it's me, Hugh Sanders, here, and we're joined by Toyin Coker.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Toyin.
Hi.
It's been a long time since we had you on the show.
It has, yeah, even remote when I was in South Carolina.
We did?
Yeah.
Did we do that?
No, yeah, that was you.
Don't remember even.
How
Was that
long ago
Skype?
was it? Was like another
That
life?
was a Skype, yeah, and we kept losing each other. I was in, where was I? I was in Greenville, South Carolina, doing a consult at a
There's
hospital.
a lot of stuff going on in Greenville.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the South. That's going on, yeah.
It doesn't even seem like the South, Greenville.
I know, Greenville, South Carolina.
Not that I've ever been there, but I kind of went through there.
Oh, yeah?
I drove up from New Orleans through
Nice.
by Atlanta, and then
Yep.
and then through West Virginia.
Skirt just the tail end of it.
I might have gone into Greenville just a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Are
couldn't
you
believe the
American?
price of.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my God! It seems to be an American theme on today's show.
It's only our second guest who is American. our last guest was American too.
Oh, yeah?
But Tony doesn't even seem American.
No. What do I see?
Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I was
very
gonna say,
much.
give me worldly.
Because you're from New York.
Yes.
You have absolutely no
I
accent.
know.
It comes out when I go home.
Really?
Yeah, just like when I'm up in Caledon, I sound like a farmer.
Wow, so you adapt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, chameleon. My theater arts background, I think, helps with that. I have an ear for accents.
You sound like a very, very fascinating person.
So let's talk about the Permaculture Project because, I mean, when I remember the first time we had you on a show in person, I was fascinated with it and I wanted to work with you. And then now here we are working
Together, side by side,
here in
literally.
the building. It's crazy.
Right.
But so let's talk about the Permaculture Project.
Okay, so Permaculture Project is actually, we've renamed it. We're calling it now Permaculture GTA. We found that a lot of people were getting confused in what it was that we did. A lot of people assumed it was just gardening. But, you know, the mission statement of Permaculture GTA is actually to develop an infrastructure for this new budding niche, this new economy, and how can we offer it by limiting the compromise for individuals who come in. So from the diversity of backgrounds, from architecture to gardening to early childhood care worker, there's a certain level of standards that people are now trying to ascertain within these fields, and it's really difficult in the mainstream to get that level of potency or that level of programming. And that level really just means how it's fine-tuned, if it's a safe space, if it offers...
Okay, wait a second. Okay, because I don't understand. Okay,
yeah.
So are you saying that because there are consumers of this, these services, and there are producers of these, so where is who's having difficulty achieving the standards?
Both sides, producers and consumers. So producers right now, a lot of the people who are caught up in the organic conversation are finding that the level of organic, when you're actually somebody who's been working in that field and knows farmers and knows your producers, doesn't really support organic farming. It's a new brand within this niche, this greenwashing.
In other words, they're just doing it for the money.
Just doing it for the money, and the standards of organic are actually 4 levels lower than what somebody who actually is doing organic from the ground, from the land would classify.
Okay, but there are people or organizations setting standards.
Correct.
Like you put a stamp of organic, it has to meet certain criteria, right?
Right, and that we're saying that criteria can often be low
Yeah.
in terms of what the consumer is really looking for. So just because it's organic, I mean, there's an actual brand out there where the name is Organics.
Oh yeah.
And it really it tricks people. It makes them think that it has that, the principle that that it's been done in an organic way. But
shouldn't that be illegal though? Is there?
It should, but I mean, there's certain catches, there's certain loopholes that people are able to skate, just kind of get in.
So.
But also down to our services, our education, our the jobs that we take. Me as an individual, if I want to go work in my field, I find I'm hard pressed to find an institution that will actually support what I want to do. It boils it down, makes a very superficial approach to what it is I'm actually trying to do. It's really, what is the profit margin? How many youth can we get in? Not how great was the curriculum? What did the youth learn? It's more, how quickly can we get them to show that they've achieved one skill so we can wrap it up in a beautiful bow and give it to a granting agent, rather than did we empower youth? Did we change somebody's life? Did we change the landscape of a community?
That is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
But this is also a mentality that's worldwide. It's not just this organization. In fact, this organization is trying very much to be an umbrella for other groups, other organizations, other agencies underneath the philosophy of permaculture and not just a brand. So we have quite a number of local community centers, different practitioners who work with us to make this community that we identify as permaculture.
Wow, that is... So permaculture is more philosophy than it is a brand.
That's exactly right, especially for us. And when it got introduced into the mainstream, it quickly turned into a brand, quickly turned into identified teachers teaching down to people, again, which was the hierarchical system. But the permaculture system is supposed to be building a horizontal platform.
So where are you now then? How are you interfacing or merging with that? Because it is hard to bring this forward because it's a whole new concept. It's a whole new way of being. And 99% of the world is the other way. So it's much easier to get sucked into the 99 than get the 99 brought into that one.
Well, actually, in fact, as you mentioned it, if I can just clarify, is that the majority of the world is already in this mentality. We just don't have the voices. The people who have the voices, which we would identify as the 1%, just take up a much more room than they actually should.
Very good point.
And so where we are now is we're in this brilliant building. This building is calling social innovators, change makers to come together to offer almost like a CSI-styled center for us to collaborate, incubate each other's projects, work, share, have the peer review.
Okay, just to clarify, CSI meaning?
Center for Social Innovation.
Not CSI as in the TV show.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so just want to, okay.
Thank you. And all the acronyms that we get lost in, right?
Yes.
But that's where we are now. We've been working really much under the radar with not a lot of support monetarily or even with sweat equity, but we're able to keep pushing forward. We're in a sense animating a dream, right? And so the more we keep verbalizing what we wish existed, the more we keep animating what we know it's going to take to support our village, the more we keep putting it out there, the social innovators and the change makers are coming in with their programming to say, we saw this call out, now we're here, where do you need us? So we said, great, we need an early childhood program, or we need a food market, or we need a way to move people around. We can't really access TTC, or we can't really access that. A lot of us work here as a volunteer, 24/7, 365 a year. Where does our pay come from to support our rent, right? And so now we're even mobilizing into shared housing units, and just so that we can come to the table and do this work without compromise. As soon as we say, something else takes a priority for doing the work, we lose the potency. We lose what it is that we're trying to actually achieve, which is a holistic approach to a lifestyle. And how can we do that lifestyle and live in a village and cultivate a village if we don't see the village? Right? And so this building is offering us that opportunity. Let's see the village.
So this is like the village. This is the first step of seeing the village.
Correct, yeah. We've been operating very much as a virtual village. Talking to people about what it looks like. How does our community come together? How do the elders interact with the youth? How do we educate each other? Is it a formal institution, an academic institution? Or do children learn through play? And there's elders around constantly to just inform their experience. Which one do we value more? Which one values us more? How can we sit and create the structures to support that? And then how can we then tie in maybe a monetary component to support us getting off the ground? Or how can we tie in to get philanthropists therapists in the room to support this vision so that we're not depending on the model that's crippling us, but we start re-envisioning the model and then putting in the structures to support it.
This is absolutely beautiful. So who makes the decisions? Is there a board or a council? How does this work?
It's more like a council. So we have individuals who get up to the level of membership. And in order to be a member, you're essentially saying, I'm going to show up. I'm going to help do everything from help clean dishes to hang signage to put things away from last night's event. And when somebody signs up as a member, they get all the deliverables, all the benefits of being part of a community that's growing food, putting community together, down to martial arts classes at cost or yoga classes or a community event. And so the members inform. Individuals hold the vision, right? And so individuals who might be working in larger arenas, maybe they're working in community or international development or policy reform, can say, you know, this is what's going on a global scale. This is what individuals are actualizing on the ground in Texas, in Oakland, in Milwaukee. This is what we should be translating that action to here in Toronto. And then once that action comes to the table, everybody mobilizes on it from their specific standpoint. And we use our event like the Convergence that's coming up November 30th and December 1st as a best practices, as a peer review opportunity, as a round table, as a collaborative engagement session where people do workshops on what's worked or what hasn't worked, or brings in, offers case studies. If people aren't connecting to the history that's already happened, they say, well, look, we've already tried that. It didn't work, and this is why it didn't work. And you might not recognize it because it came through in this form or this modality, but it's very much similar to what we're all trying to work on. Here's how we can build from this model. Here's how we can build from this model.
So do you ever have issues where people disagree and there's just no way two parties can come together? Does that happen?
It's interesting because we do a lot of conflict resolution work within and a lot of capacity building for members to do conflict resolution. And what we find is there's not really a difference of where we want to go. It's usually just how we want to get there. And so part of the permaculture mentality is that there's always more than one way to do something. And when we talk about domains versus roles, we're actually just talking about what's the strongest way. In this room, if there's 15 people right now, which is the strongest way to get us to that outcome? And if the strongest way is the way that not a lot of people agree about, then it's up to that person to really educate people on that method. Educate, peer review. And then we end up in a collaborative process regardless, even if there's adversity, because that's how communities grow, through conflict, through adversity.
It seems to me that you really have to drop your ego.
Oh yeah, there's no room for ego.
Like there can't, and that has to be, you know, if it does, you know, if anybody comes up with an ego, and I'm right is more important than I'm right over you is more important than what's right for the group. Somebody has to call that out or be okay with having that called out.
Yeah, and developing the capacity of the membership to have and hold that space, to be able to say, that doesn't really sound like we're trying to work collaboratively. That sounds like you're trying to colonize or beat somebody over the head and beat your opinion in. And, you know, those skills is what we work with when we talk about our leadership and action program. It's how to work together, not what the projects are.
Because that's a big part of it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot of reasons why things are failing. It's a lot of reasons why there's a lot of models out there that people chalk up to fanatical religious groups or cults or these different things. It's the breakdown in communication when people are trying to share a message and try to share a uniformed message, right? It's how do we work together even when we're working in separate cells?
Wow. Or even when we have different points of view.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the difference, the diversity is a marker in permaculture. Permaculture recognizes and celebrates diversity. And we recognize and celebrate collaborative interconnection. And so being like mycelium, mitochondrial, you know, acting like nature means you're going to get diversity. That's the point. Recognizing and appreciating diversity in its form is what we're going to learn. How do I recognize that the canary is building the nest different than the robin, and that's good for the canary, instead of everybody needs to build their nest the same way? Right? And so we teach those skills, which is when it breaks down to when a lot of people make that journey, they make that commitment to be part of the membership, they're signing up for that transitional life practice, that here's how I can translate what somebody else is saying so that I get it, and I can still speak from wherever I speak from, but I get what they're saying. Wow. You know, it's a little bit more than empathizing.
Wow, it sounds like unity consciousness to me.
Mhm.
Wow. Sounds like the new earth to me.
That's Ashay, that's what we're trying to achieve. And it's very much modeled after the peace villages that a lot of the elders and communities have been working on.
Wow.
A lot of the collaborative
Amazing.
centers.
Kudos to you. I think, wow, this is really making it real. Wow.
Okay.
Hugh,
Okay.
thank you for bringing her on. This is an amazing guest.
My pleasure, Sandra. Okay, Toyin. Okay, so permaculture exists to have an impact, to really take the message and the philosophy out there into the community.
You mean our group, Permaculture GTA?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in general, but but yes, because
Just making sure you're talking about the group and not the philosophy.
Sure,
yeah.
your group that you are the steward of.
Mhm.
I'll put it that way. But you want to have an impact out there,
Yes.
right? So how do you go out there and really make an impact in the community and bring the community along to the point where they're starting to live by some of the values and the philosophy of permaculture?
That's a great question. So we've done, what we've done is we've broken our platform into 3 areas. We have a social, ecological, and a spiritual platform. And so through these 3 veins, we're able to offer programming that's either directed at capacity building, which is leadership building, or direct change. And so through our ecological program, we have a gardening program. We go into communities, we do assessments, we can help develop garden spaces that don't only provide food or nourishment or pollinator plants or things like that, but it's also a healing space. And we actually facilitate the community to utilize the space. And we've been fortunate to work with local youth shelters like Eva's Initiative, or academies like YMCA, Youth for Learning Disabilities, Youth with Learning Disabilities Academy, and going in and really just speaking to their need, whether it's a nutrition program, a breakfast program, or a gardening program. We have a goal to do over 30% green spaces through our PermaBlitz program, which is just transforming spaces, literally connecting with homeowners, introducing them to our philosophy, introducing them to our larger community, and then executing an entire yard transformation, which is really successful, and it's a social enterprise.
Okay, so we all have to live in this this economy that we have that I believe has certain systemic problems that make it very difficult for people who are trying to do the right thing, like you and me
and everybody who's
Sandra,
tried before, yeah.
To actually do what we need to do, because we got to run around and do all the BS to pay the utilities and stuff like that. So, so how does your group? What's the strategy to actually manage to keep it going, to be sustainable in this dysfunctional economy, so that we can keep doing what we're doing and make it better and better?
Well, I mean, we have a process that encourages people to pay for services that they get. So whether or not they sit with us and we host a meeting for them and they pay a consultation fee, or it's the PermaBlitz and we design something for them and they pay for the design and the materials and the labor to come. The only thing that we're able to do when it comes down to making money is we try not to gouge people. We try to get them to pay for what it is they're actually getting. And then the surplus that we get from them is usually something that's bartered or that supports us in a different way, whether or not it's plugging in and giving us services or it's bringing materials towards us. And so the economic model is where we are now, really finding and collecting change makers to join the team from a leadership capacity who are good with business, who are good with economics, right? And so that call out's just continuously going out to just keep getting people to help. I'm one person. I don't animate everything. I can't. I mean, even financing, I don't even know what a QuickBooks is, really, right? But getting people who can join us at the table, who understand the philosophy or want to, who can then provide these supports.
Because I just happen to believe, before you go, Sandra, and say some more stuff, I just really think that it is possible, even though it might be difficult, to take these noble, worthy, idealistic, perhaps, projects and somehow translate them into a product or service that people will be willing to pay for. And to make this sustainable so that we can then transform the whole economy.
Well, in fact, we've been putting out there just visions. We want a child program. We want an after-school program. I have a black belt in martial arts. Let's teach martial arts classes. Right? Like, let's get these services going. However, if we were to execute them on the level we want to execute, we need more hands. We need
Yeah.
more people, right? And so even for the convergence, it's a call out. Here's
Yeah.
the programs we want to do. Here's
Yeah.
the programs we've already done.
Yeah.
Plug into this instead of bringing something new. Let's just do what's already started. I
Oh.
saw that thought going, Sandra.
Yeah, she's got a question. It's a really important
But he's
question.
tapping me on
no,
the
no,
leg,
no,
which
I
means
want
he
you
wants to cut me off now.
I want you to ask it. Go ahead.
Okay. Because that's his signal when he taps me underneath.
Right.
Which
And I
nobody's
know.
supposed to see.
The cues,
Or know
yeah.
about.
It's top secret.
That's
It's
out the
secret.
bag.
Well, no, what I was going to say is actually was really a comment. Is, you asked, how do you do that? I think you're already doing it. So I
Ashay,
just
thank
think you
you.
keep doing what you're doing. Because
Thank
if
you.
I said to you, first of all, you've been around for a bit now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I said to you, how have you done what you've done? And when you first started, did you even have a plan? No, you had the dream, the vision,
it.
the energy, the desire, and that brings everything to you.
There's
right?
a lot of atoning in the process, recognizing, we're sitting on a project. Why don't we launch this as a program? We have an architect in the room. Why don't we build some stuff? That's exactly right. But there's not a lot of room for that mentality, Sandra. Like, not a lot of people will look at us and say, you've done quite a number of things. In fact, what is going on right now is a direct reflection of your energy building and building and building, right? A lot of people are very cut. They want to see what's happened that translates to blah, 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 and
Yes.
that's part of the system that we're trying to get away from.
That's right. So it's that balance that you have to have between the two, right?
But also, we try not to launch a project or execute something unless it's fully supported, because we also see the opportunity for co-opting and energy to be used against us if we don't have a solid foundation. And so building the foundation is really, whenever we have something, we execute it, we go back and review it.
Okay.
We have to have
I have a
that space.
question.
Yeah.
This is an important question. Okay. If Mayor Rob Ford came to you
Mm-hmm.
and said, okay, I love this, what can I do to help?
Goodness going on. I would love for Mayor Rob Ford to sit down so we could create a memorandum of understanding of how he's going to give his position of leadership to somebody who holds the vision and can strategically put them in a place to not only represent maybe a demographic or community that's underrepresented, so individuals can start to see themselves in leadership. He would have to sit down and probably get out of his mansion and probably go into some kind of work on the abuse cycle that he has, but he would actually be in the room with us, helping to use his privilege, because privilege can be scalable, to help open doors for us. That would be it.
I want you to run for mayor. That's it. Okay, next one, you're running.
You know what? I always say that that's a great idea, but I'm also one of those people. I grew up in journalism. I grew up in community organization. I'm a cancer survivor.
And you're American.
And I'm American. If you're going to execute something on that level, you need the administration. Right? The administration is the people who help execute on that level, who speak with you instead of against you.
Yes.
And I have not found that A-team yet. That leadership team that is willing to work, relax the ego and work with. And there's a lot of people who are very intimidated by female leadership. Very intimidated
So we just need to bring in the whole permaculture staff as being the new politicians, the new mayor and team
that would
for
be
Toronto.
amazing.
Maybe we can get Rob Ford's former staff, who have all resigned.
They've all resigned. In fact, some of the people didn't even know what they were working for when they were working with him. When you sit and talk to some of the people who worked on his campaign, if they knew then what they know now, they never would have put that much energy in. But that's how leadership right now exists. They kind of cut off the truth, and people work tirelessly until they see the big picture. In permaculture, we try to show the big picture first. If people need to leave, go home, and adjust, then they can go home and adjust.
Okay.
My knee is bruised.
You need a different symbol.
Don't get me going there, Toya.
Don't-
I'll think of some.
I
Bruce
wanna
more than
know.
your knee.
But the convergence, the convergence is the big piece. And so I just
What
put
is
out there
that?
the convergence. I put it out there to the community. It's an opportunity for change makers, social change makers, innovators, entrepreneurs, visionaries, techies, business people to come together, put together the proposals of things that you envision happening in the city of Toronto, how we can come together and come to this convergence and present it to the larger audience. Talk to people about not only what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it, but what it's going to take for you to get that off the ground. So we as a community can start standing behind good ideas instead of sabotaging them by not knowing they exist or not knowing that people need that energy. And so the Convergence is a large conference. It has workshops, seminars, organic food. We're going to use the whole building. We're going to open the doors. We're going to get people within this space to kind of open their doors and talk about what it is they're doing and work together. And the theme of it is called Uniting Toronto. And we've been talking about it for a little while, and it's going to keep coming back until it gets bigger and bigger. But it's anybody If you're intimidated by the brand of Permaculture GTA, throw it out. All we're talking about is social innovators, people who can use this brand as a vehicle, reduce the red tape so you can do the work you want to do. And come and talk to us at this convergence on how that's happening. If you have examples of it, bring it. And if you want to do a presentation, present it.
How can people find out more about this?
If people want to find out more, go to the website, permaculturegta.org, or email me, toyin@permaculturegta.org, and I will give you the workshop information. We have an Eventbrite up that's called permacultureliving.eventbrite.com. I have a number of different social platforms. We're on Facebook, Permaculture GTA. Even connecting with your local community agency and saying, I'm interested in the permaculture living convergence, because local agencies are part of the permaculture movement. And you'd be very surprised at who's sitting in underneath as partners or liaisons or subcontractors within this larger fabric, because it's not a business and it's not a brand that's solely Permaculture GTA. It's really working, and we've been connecting with people in the city of Toronto for years.
It's the new earth, really. Really and truly it is. Wow. Obama's got nothing on you, honey.
Thank you.
Because you are just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Do you want to go to war with Syria like Obama does?
No, but I want to go to Nigeria and start doing some capacity development in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay. Me
Especially
too.
with my father there.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Start a market garden, something. Start producing food.
All right. Well, they don't have any snow there, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, they don't have any. Well, they've got a lot of
grow
other
stuff all year round.
Well, yes and no, but yes.
Yeah.
I see where you're going.
Okay. All right, Toya, thanks for doing this
Thank you so much,
today.
you. Thanks for that channel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
Wow.
So we are going to play a little video about satanic symbols.
I'm still affected by her.
Okay. We're going to come back with Helen Goldstein right after this, and we're going to talk about whatever Helen is doing these days. Let's watch what satanic symbols and Canada have in common.
Nothing.
This is the 2010 World Cup logo. At first glance it looks like nothing more than a fancy design. However, when you turn the logo 90 degrees to the left and you look at the top left hand corner, you can see the head of a bird. Now take a look at the rest of the logo and you can see that that is also the head of a bird. The question here of course is, why is there a bird's head hidden in the 2010 World Cup logo? Ladies and gentlemen, meet the so-called god of geometry, Thoth, the Nephilim.
Gorilla 199's video opened my eyes. He's right! These satanic symbols are everywhere! At least on every single World Cup since 2002. Now, of course, some satanic atheists are gonna try to convince you that the FIFA logo for the World Cup is actually a symbolic representation of the World Cup trophy. But Satan doesn't stop there, he's everywhere. Let's examine one of the most satanic countries in the world. Canada. Just take a look at their flag. See how many points they have on each one of the branches of the maple leaf. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but look at the length. It has to count twice because it's bigger. Yes. What is this telling us? You have 6 on every branch of the Canadian flag. 6, 6, 6. Oh, don't gloat, Americans. You're not off the hook. See, count how many columns of stars you have on your flag. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many long stripes you have on your flag? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There. Oh yeah, how many white stripes you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ha! A Christian nation? I don't think so. But don't be fooled. Satan is everywhere. You see this cute little picture of a kitty cat? Well, what if we just make this drawing, just erase this and draw this like that, and then there. You think you're seeing a kitty cat? Beelzebub! Just as I said, everywhere. Not even Gorilla 199 is free from sin. Do you see that innocent-looking magnet in the background? Take a closer look. Now, I don't have the technology to make it more clear, but I'm pretty sure that it is the devil herself! Thanks for listening. This video has been brought to you by Pfizer. Pfizer.
Why does the sky stay blue? It's probably the same reason that the sun is shining too, and all the birds are whistling tunes. Sing it out, shout it out, and here's a song for you. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. La 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 la. If everything stays the same. La 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 la. If everything stays the same.
Buddy, that box is a little too small for you.
Yesterday was cold and gray, but now the night is over, we can go outside and play, and all the trees are dancing this way, shaking and clapping and listening to them say, if everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. La 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 la. If everything stays the same. La 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 la. If everything stays the same. Running with the wind in my hair. Nothing seems to stop me as I'm flying through the air, and I just don't seem to care. Everyone's making fun as they sit and stare. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be. La 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 la. If everything stays the same. La 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 la. If everything stays the same. If everything's the same, then everything's the way that it should be.
Okay, we're back here on the air, and you see how
What?
satanic Canada is?
Oh my God! And we're going from Satan to the compassionate diva.
Well, yes, we have Helen Goldstein here, and we were just talking before we came on the air about all the groovy things that Helen is doing, including tutoring Nikki Hayes, who's in the house
Which is-
here,
which
who's
is
learned how
why-
to flip her hair.
She has, and that's so. She's learning how to be the diva, and now Helen is trying to teach her the compassion.
Oh yeah,
right.
And that's a big job.
She's mean.
No, she's fine.
You know, and I think that's probably taught you to be more compassionate, right?
No.
No. Okay, Helen, you just stopped that interview right there.
Okay.
Way to go.
Not with her. Look, I knew.
Nikki Hayes is a special case, we know.
Yes.
Yes, she is. But we love her.
Yes, we do. And I knew I was getting attached to her when I went shopping yesterday and I picked up food for her.
Oh.
Nikki would like this. Nikki would like that. This is not. It's getting intense.
It sounds
you know what?
codependent.
It is.
But
It
you know
is.
what? That also. So where do we draw the line between? Where do we draw that distinction between codependency and compassion? Because I see it as having compassion for her.
Okay. All right. So I am. I'm compassionate to Nikki. You're right. Thank
You know
you
why she
for
talks like
pointing.
that, Helen? It's because she builds cat shelters in her spare time.
I know, and she feeds birds, and
Yes.
I know she's
And
great.
I love that. And that's not my spare time. I do this in my spare time. I
That's
just want
right.
you to know,
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my full-time job.
Okay, well, let's get to what Helen's doing. I don't know if it's
It's
full-time
all
or
about me.
part-time, Helen.
Okay.
But it's you're talking today about compassion in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, I had a yoga studio, or as I like to say, it had me for 13 years.
Because it was
and
extremely successful, right?
yeah, we were really busy. I had 58 employees and thousands of people going through.
And is that how come you became coined the godmother of yoga?
Toronto Life did an article about yoga pioneers, and a couple of the, yes.
Okay.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
a
you.
phenomenal,
Thank you.
phenomenal thing.
Thank you. I just want to be really clear. I opened up my studio in 1995. So before that, there were other people definitely doing the work. But because I have fairly good marketing skills and I created a really high profile really quickly, I was able to build up the business quickly. And a lot of the yoga studios in Toronto, the people that run them originally came from my studio. So I'm very proud of that, that it sort of spawned all this other stuff. So I'm always a little embarrassed, I have to say, because, I'm not the godmother. I mean, I've just happened to have good promo and purple hair. So, I have a certain image that's a little bit different. I do wear Birkenstocks at home, but I'm not your typical yoga teacher. So that's probably more why that happened.
Well, I think I'm not all that familiar with yoga, but when I do think of yoga, there is this image I have in my mind of what a yoga teacher is and what they represent, and you break every single mold.
Yep.
But I actually love that. I love that because for me, I talk to you and I feel like it's human, and I think, well, maybe I can do it then, because when you see a lot of the stretches and poses some of these people do, I think there's just no way, forget it.
And that is I have so much trouble with that. I have to tell you, when I look at a poster of somebody doing a ridiculous posture, and I say, are you showing off or are you really trying to get people interested? Because I couldn't do that, and I've only been practicing for 35 years. I can't do a lot of the stuff I see. So, there's a bit of ego involved, but don't get me even, that's another show.
Okay.
Okay, that's another show, which I'd be happy to do
I
if
think
you
we should do
invite
an
me back
intervention
after
show
this
on
one,
that.
if I behave enough. But what I really want to talk about is, if that's okay with you, may I? Is that okay?
Yes, please.
What I'm excited to talk about is what I'm doing right now, and that is I'm teaching wellness in the workplace, conventions, retreat centers, all over the place. And it's been, without question, the most fun I've had. Having 58 employees, thousands of people, landlords, the guy that cleaned my office was making more than I was when I had the studio, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm really not.
Wow.
And so I went from that, which was a labor of love, where I felt that this was my calling, that this is what I'm supposed to do, to now delivering that same level of compassion in the workplace. And I see how much that's needed, and just how stressed out. It's even worse. Like when I started teaching in the workplace 20 years ago, people would come in with a cup of coffee, a juice. It would be really relaxed, and it's layoffs, and it's even worse, because what I see happening now is there are all these bedroom communities, so that people are commuting 2 and 3 hours a day.
Yes.
Right? On the train, rush hour,
Yes,
whatever.
yeah.
And then they go home and they have to deal with cooking and the family and all that other stuff. So I'm seeing people like this, right? Like really.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've created a sequence of postures, and they're in your chair. right? You do them in the chair. You don't have to put on the Lulus. You don't have to worry about what you look like, because people are nervous in the workplace
Yes.
that they're going to not look as good, if they're going to make a rude noise, because God knows they do. You know, all of that, you know, these are things they don't have to worry about anymore. So I keep being called back to do these workshops and these lunch and learns. And particularly one place, which is a government agency, 4,200 people work there. A more miserable, I've never seen a more miserable group of people in front of me ever.
Wow.
And they spend, half of them spend their day saying no to people on the phone. No, 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 no. Layoffs, misery, backstabbing, bad management, bad. So, you know, they come in, and the first time they walked in, it was like, I don't want to be here, and I hate you, and I hate this, and I want to go out for a smoke and a toke, or whatever it is they do in the afternoon to sort of deal with the misery of you know, a martini. I don't think it's in their budget to have a martini. But anyways, and I taught them this yoga and meditation and visualization and breath work and just really easy coping skills.
So is this what can bring compassion back to the workplace?
Yes, but more than that, yes, but more than that is allowing people to be miserable and not taking it personally. They want to be miserable. I think that's so big. I remember once reading, and I'm paraphrasing, forgive me, what you think of me is none of my business.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you think of me is none of my business. Yeah, that's good. That's a hard one, though, for a lot of people.
I mean, we all
right?
want to be liked, you know.
Right. Wow. I mean, back to the actual yoga that you're doing. This is actually called something. You're calling it something.
Yes. Oh, and I'm so excited. I'm launching a online training. It's launching as we speak. It's launched. And it's called Vidya, Vidya.
Which means?
The bringer of knowledge and the illuminator.
Wow.
And Vidya is one of the Hindu goddesses. And she's related to goddesses who create abundance. You know, when you see them, they've got coins coming out of their hands.
Oh, so I've seen those. So
Pavarti.
those are called Vidyas.
Well, the Vidya is an emanation of you know, they're all connected.
Okay.
So
that is beautiful.
Yeah. So Vidya is really about bringing that to the workplace, and I'm teaching wellness providers. You know, people that coaches and yoga teachers and psychotherapists and doctors, naturopaths, whoever has a wellness background, so that they understand how to go into the workplace and deliver this sequence. And it's something I've developed, and as I said, I've been teaching in the workplace for over 20 years. And it's something that I've really carefully, I understand what works, like where you're going to get people's back up and where they're going to be comfortable. So I teach them the language of the workplace. How do you language it? And I've got an amazing team of people who are on board, you know, people who are teaching. It's just, I'm so excited about it. I feel like it's what I'm here to do.
It sounds amazing, and what I think is really valuable about this is it actually brings it to you. Instead of you having to go, now you have to take time out of your day, like going to a gym, you have to go and do yoga twice or 3 times a week, and you have to commute there, whatever. Now it's so real and so practical that you can actually do it as part of your daily life.
Because you don't have to get undressed.
I don't think you have to get up, right? You don't have to stand up.
You can go to the lunchroom, and you know what I used to do, what I loved doing, was after the class I would bring little goodies, and sometimes I would bring fresh juice. So, you know, they would do a class and then they would hang out together.
Yeah.
So you'd have this wonderful camaraderie amongst people from different departments when you have 4,200
Wow.
people in a place. So the camaraderie of having people from different departments come together and having a little munchie.
And it's nice that
builds
they're
community.
not talking about work.
Exactly. It's more like, wow, that was great, or Helen, tell me something. I saw purple while I was meditating. What does that mean? And it's a wonderful thing.
Wow,
it's a wonderful thing.
Means they were dreaming about your hair.
Yes. I don't
purple
want to.
halo.
That's right. That's right. They were finally looking at me. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. They
What's
drank
in
the Kool-Aid, as my friend Nikki likes to say. Yeah. So it's very, it's exciting.
So can you just give us a bit of a snapshot as to what this is about? How long is it? And is it something you can actually, if I'm at work and you show me how to do this, can I actually do it while I'm at my desk as well?
Yes.
Like, or do I have to
Yeah.
go to the lunchroom and do it with everybody?
No. But here's what's so beautiful about this, and if I may just rewind for a moment. What I know for sure in talking to people and just being aware of what's going on out there is that wellness providers are really having a hard time. Too many yoga studios are graduating too many yoga teachers.
So we have too much
There's
supply.
too many people out there looking for places to teach and not enough places. I just heard something so alarming yesterday that one of the studios, a big like Walmart kind of studio that's opening up at the end of October, the guy who's running it hired people based on their social media savvy.
As opposed to the yoga.
Well, yeah, they have to know how to do yoga, but how savvy are you and how
Wow.
connected?
Wow.
So,
okay.
That's what's going on.
Wait, but okay, so the one thing is you're saying there's too many people wanting to teach and not
Yeah.
enough places, but
Right.
is the demand there?
For
To be taught yoga?
There is, but it's not keeping up with the graduation.
With the amount of teachers.
And we're talking naturopaths, chiropractors, any wellness professional
It's like that?
who is having a really hard time getting clients. It's really hard out there.
So
There's
it's-
so many people graduating.
Okay.
So what this does is it gives them an extra skill beyond what they have now. So a chiropractor who's really aware of the body can learn this, go into the workplace, make more money per hour than they do in their office, because workplaces pay really well, right?
Right.
Especially since it's seated and you can get 3 or 4 times more people in a room than you would if they were lying down.
So this is called seated yoga.
It's Vidya seated yoga.
Okay.
Okay, so they can. Okay, so my question is, so basically, because I was going to ask you how people access this this training
Yeah.
from you,
Thank
or
you.
from anybody else who you're teaching to do this, and it's not individuals who hire you or these other professionals. It's actually the workplaces themselves.
Yep.
But my question is because, you talked about people in these large institutional companies and organizations are miserable, the layoffs and all that kind of stuff. My sense is, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that they don't have the money that they used to have for these kind of activities, or do they?
No, that's actually not true. That's Hugh. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Corporations are spending 3 times more in the last 3 years on workplace wellness than they did 3 years ago. So they're spending 3 times more. They're getting that for every dollar they spend, they get $4.58 back in employee retention and happiness and all
Work
the things that you
productivity.
want.
Productivity, less
So
sick
they're
days.
making more money.
Yeah.
So the layoffs, in a place like what I'm talking about, the government layoff, we don't need to talk too much about government inefficiency. We don't need to go there. But no, it's very interesting. They're looking for holistic programs. The biggest growth of programs in these companies is holistic. And interestingly enough, insurance companies who lead the way, right? They're the ones that started paying for massage because they got, if somebody gets a massage, they're going to be less stressed. They're paying, they really have amazing programs for their staff. Almost every single one of them has yoga as part of their programming for their staff. And they're bringing on mindfulness-based meditation classes for their staff because they look at the actuarial tables, because let's face it, it's not because, oh, look, let me do this. The actuarial tables say that if you spend this, you get this.
Back.
So it's interesting, yes, in the States, especially, they are spending money, and they're in much worse shape than Canadians are.
Yes, true. So it's a huge return on the investment.
It's a huge return, and they're getting it. And I have all the statistics on my website. So, think about this. The course, it's 13 hours online. You do it on your own pace. You get downloads. You get amazing marketing material. Because that's what a lot of wellness practitioners don't have, like, okay, so I've got the training, now what? And they're, now what? We give them amazing marketing materials. They have a business in a box, and then we have a directory. We're setting up a holistic employee assistance program. So we're the go-to people. Somebody wants holistic nutrition. How about seated pre- and postnatal yoga? Pregnant women who want to do yoga at lunch, right in their chairs. How about seniors, special needs, people with back stuff. You can sit in your chair, you don't have to get on the ground. And employees love it. Safe, right? Very safe. And employers love it because they can get 3 times more people in a room, they can offer this 3 times a week instead of once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same price.
Yeah.
And the people who deliver wellness, they have a whole new market all of a sudden that they didn't have before. So instead of teaching at gyms where you've got the clanking behind you, you can create your own business. You're in control. You're in charge. So there you are.
Okay, so Helen, so it seems to me that who the people who should get in touch with you are people that want to become practitioners of this, and so you're going to deliver them that business in a box that is probably going to be complementary to whatever else they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And are you
So
still
it's an add-on?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And are you still offering this though to workplaces as well, or are you just teaching the teachers now?
Right now, I'm going out into the workplace of myself personally, and you can easily make $500 an hour at a conference. I'm just letting you know, right? So I don't have to teach a lot of these gigs to be a happy girl.
Right.
So yes, I'm going out to the workplace. And my big focus right now, my big push, honestly, is to train people. I want a critical mass of people around the world doing this. Because, when you really think about it, if people are happy in the workplace, I've never had a 9-to-5 gig, ever. So I don't know about punching a clock. I don't know what it's like to have a supervisor breathe down your neck. I've never done it. But I know walking in what that's like. And imagine when you have people that have skills, because they don't just do yoga, give them skills. Okay, so when you're ready to, scream at somebody, here's what you do. And I give them skills that they can use on their commute home on the subway. So imagine what happens when you've got somebody who's got those skills and then they go home. And they pass those skills on in some way to their family or to somebody on the subway. We know, you guys know, I'm not telling you anything because I know you know, that when a person becomes conscious and is happier, what happens?
Everybody. It changes everybody.
It has to.
Yeah.
See, this is where I start crying. I'm so sorry. But I feel so passionately about this, that this is a grassroots initiative. And I want to tell you why I know that this is important are the quality of people that are coming into this. And Nikki, who's been amazing helping me with this. Sandra, your input every so often. It's been amazing, the people that have said, yes, I believe in this, I know this is important, I want to come on board, including, I've got people in Dubai, New Zealand, Australia, all over the world who are saying, I'm in. What can I do? So I've got people passing on this information. I call them ambassadors.
Right.
So, as Barbara Marx Hubbard says, and I love her. I've had the honor of actually meeting her and having dinner with her, which was amazing. Concentric circles of influence. That's what we're doing. That's what we have to do. And it starts in the workplace, period.
It sounds like it might even change the world, Helen.
You know what? From your lips to God's ears. From your lips to God's ears.
Well,
and I have this great song.
Well, I was,
Are you going to sing it?
We have a
No.
We had a
No.
I actually had a
Nikki,
request.
why don't you put it on? No.
Where's the song?
We can change
Where's
the world.
the song, Helen?
We can change the world. No, come on, Nikki, put the song on.
Okay, so you know what
Get
we should
the
be doing?
song.
We should actually
Come on,
invite
put it
Nikki
on.
to come up behind you
We'll put
and
the
sing.
song on in the credits, Helen. So don't worry about
Okay,
that.
I'm
get
I'm
the
being
song on.
bossy. Sorry.
Actually, I think Nikki's being bossy, and I think
She's bossy.
she is learning from you.
I know. Could it be bossier? Oh, yes.
It's your tutelage, Helen.
Don't even get me going.
It's what the compassionate diva does.
Me or her?
You.
Oh, me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no. What you're doing, I do know a little bit about it, and it is phenomenal. It's a wonderful opportunity to really bring peace of mind to work.
Yeah.
And that's got to change the workplace.
It's got
to.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
means it will change the subway when you go into the subway.
Yeah.
It really will.
It will.
It can't not.
I know
Can
that.
you imagine sitting on the subway and doing some seated yoga moves there? That would be kind of cool.
I meditate on the subway. I do.
Okay,
I
wait a
meditate
second. No.
on the subway.
Okay, so are you stretching your arms where you could actually hit somebody and knock somebody in the head?
Well, do you want to know something funny? I taught seated yoga for Air Canada for En Route magazine. I did a seated yoga thing for them, and they for about 2 years I was in their magazine, and you'd see people. I'd be on the airplane and I'd see people going like this and this.
That's amazing.
Yeah, from the magazine. And I thought, okay, this is
So it's
good.
working. It's working.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Air Canada, you gotta love them.
Congratulations on this phenomenal program.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Vidya.
Thank you, Vidya.
All right, Helen. Thanks for doing this. We're going to go out with a song. Did you have one final thought there?
Well, I just want to say that may I say the website? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Is that all
absolutely.
right with you?
Yeah.
It's the Workplace Wellness Academy.
The Workplace Wellness
The
Academy.
Work-
Okay.
Wellness Workplace. The wellnessworkplaceacademy.com.
Wellness? Now you got me confused.
I'm having a moment. The Workplace Wellness Academy.com.
And to that point, you have a seminar.
I've got a teleseminar coming up, which is amazing. I've got people who've mentored me, experts talking about how to double or triple your income through workplace wellness. And they're going to
that
guide you through it.
teleseminar
On the
is
10th
free?
It's free.
And when is it?
The 10th of October.
Okay.
And please go on the site and register. And really looking forward to seeing you. And just remember, we can change the world. We can change the world.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Helen.
much for your patience.
One compassionate diva at a time.
Yes. And what is the thing for men? Men aren't divas.
We call
What
you
are they?
divos.
Divos. Okay, divos. Okay.
Il Divo.
Yes.
Are we not men?
Yes. Thank you guys
Okay.
for your support.
Thanks, Helen. Okay.
you.
The workplacewellnessacademy.com. And
Yes.
we're going to go out with the song. And we'll see y'all next time
Okay.
right here on
Can change the
thatchannel.com.
world.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bring up. Where is it? Bring it.
We can change the world.
Come on, come on.
We can change the world.
Come on.
We can change the world.
Come on, come on.
We can change the world.
Come on, come on.
We can change the world.
Come on, come on.
We can change the world.
Come on.
We can change the world.
Come on, come on.
That you want to be.
Come on, come on.
Be the change the world.
Come on, come
That you
on.
want to change the world.
Come on.
Be the change the world. That you want to be.
Come on.
Be the change the world. That you want to change the world. Be the change the world. That you want to be.